Sweet Lord Jesus Murphy, we're back for another episode of StarCraft. Hey, that's the wrong button. I'm back. NEXApple is the Zerg player down here in the bottom left, and STAce is the Protoss player in the top right. This is going to be an awesome game because it is game 2 of a best of 3 between these two fantastic players. STAce, definitely a Protoss that looks at the PvZ matchup in a very different way. And that being the Warp Prism drops. Game 1, man, he was all over the map with Speed Prisms dropping Zealots. He popped down 2 Immortals and sniped a Greater Spire. And I don't even know if I caught that in the cast, but I caught it afterwards. But yeah, some pretty awesome stuff. Great reactions all around from this player. And chose not to deal with the Broodlord Infestor composition directly. Instead, realizing that it's slow, just taking remote expansions around the map and punishing the Zerg back at home, hoping that he can cut the Zerg off at the source and then deal with the Broodlord Infestors once the Zerg player has dried up all his resources. NEXApple, on the other hand, also a fantastic player. He has been doing kind of the standard Zerg style, nothing really weird or out of the ordinary. Can't say that he built a lot of roaches though, which is something we see from a lot of Zerg players right now. But what he is very happy with that Broodlord Infestor endgame combo, that big beastly composition that a lot of Protoss players have trouble dealing with. And a little bit of probe harass from STAce is going to try to soften some drones, but I don't know why. I'm not really sure what's going on there. And we're seeing kind of a late expansion here from the Zerg player. Not really. He's finally going for that expansion now, only to find a probe there waiting. Gonna clear that out. And once again, NEXApple does not bring 2 drones, which is odd to me. You know, because you need to deal with that probe quickly, or else, you know, the longer your expansion is delayed. But as soon as this spawning pool is done, he will build a queen. He's just going to continuously build drones until then. Got an Overlord out, and all is dandy. That expansion goes down, and the probe is still alive, so he's got to watch for any kind of forge harass on this expansion. There are no Overlords there for scouting though, which is strange to me. This is the IPL qualifiers. I wasn't sure what it was the last time I cast it. It was handed to me by Zergrush, and he did tell me, yeah, man, IPL qualifiers. And I was like, cool beans, Batman. These little Zerglings here are just gonna let that probe go, and the probe's like, phew. Yeah, I won't do that again. 2 Lings crossing the map. Just gonna go poke up here at the ramp and see what's going on. There is a cannon now completing, so one of these 2 Lings, probably this guy here, is gonna get a face full of photon. The Overlord actually gets a taste of it first, and actually not gonna get in close enough to die horribly. Just gonna sit here and see if anything leaves that choke, which is fantastic. This is what you gotta do, guys. If you know, if your opponent is walling off like this, and he's doing something where he's just going to sit in his base for a while, or at least that's what you expect, you got to put something out front just to catch surprises. If he walks out of that base with 3 Zealots with +1 weapons going for your third's pretty naked, but if you sit this Zergling here, and those Zealots come marching out, well, you know they're on the way, so you can drop a spine, you can get some Lings, you can get like 4 roaches, and you're all fine. It's up to you how you want to deal with it, but this is excellent scouting tactics. Every Zerg should do it. That being said, there is a Zealot on the way, and that Zealot's probably going to poke out here just to get rid of this spotting, which that's the reaction the Protoss should be doing. Make sure the Zerg can't sit out here and spot what you're doing. There's no weapons upgrades on the way, and you'll notice that there's not a complete wall here from the Protoss player at all. I mean, the Zerg really wanted to be a bitch. He could get Speedlings and just run on through here. There's a single cannon as defense, nothing else. But I mean, STAce is doing his job scouting, or at least he was, but I believe that probe is dead now. And so he knew that that Ling aggression wasn't on the way. And now he's just going to move on into his standard Sentry Robo build. This is going to be probably Immortal Sentry. And a lot of the time that turns into an all-in, but I've noticed that STAce is not really the aggressive type. I think last game he got 5 Phoenix just for some, you know, standard easy harass, but he stopped at 5. And somehow his opponent read that, you know, not overcommitting. He didn't, you know, rush to Hydra when he wasn't ready or anything like that, and he didn't get too many spores or anything strange like that either. Just kind of just enough. And so good play by both players, reading each other quite properly. This Overlord gonna get spotted by the Sentry here. Overlord is gonna see that Robo, and probably going to be able to leave without dying, but no, he's just going to go all the way. Wants to see what else is here. NEXApple's just ready to give up this overload. He's just going to let him die. That's okay. You know, it's worth seeing what there is to see. And in this case, 2 gateways. That robo almost got to see what was coming out of that robo bay. It is an immortal. It's always nice to know if he's starting to pump out immortals or if he's just getting observers. But in this case, it is the immortal. Couple sentry, just like a single zealot, 2 sentry, and an immortal. Interesting that that's pushing out. It's pretty naked. If at any moment the Zerg player were to spit out a boatload of Zerglings, this little push would be in trouble, and that's a free immortal for the Zerg player. But then again, that's larva for the Zerg player. So I don't know. You didn't see it, but I just did like a little hands out shrug. My fingers were curled. It was excellent. But God, I talk with my hands too much, and there's no one to see it, so I just don't even know. And that Ling dies to, well, that. 1 kill. Fucking immortal. Anyway, little circle jerk here going on with the overload. Reminds me of you ever see I Am Legend? The very first time you see any of the creatures, they're just chilling in the dark in a little circle, their backs turned to the camera, you know, sweating like beasts, and they're just like yeah. And so I yelled circle jerk in the theater, and nobody could take the movie seriously anymore, and I was like, well, I'm sorry I ruined that for everybody, but you shouldn't be masturbating in the dark together. Or alone either. I don't even know. Those are some scary monsters you got there in that movie. STAce's Ace getting his upgrades. I'm cool with that. Armor's on the way, and a lot of Lings running across the map. If anything, he's going to force a lot of force fields. But I don't think he can do any damage with this, really. Kind of just spending his money, I suppose, while he banks his gas. We've got pathogen glands on the way and 2 infestors. And notice the timing of that. If he's lucky, the pathogen gland will finish before the infestors finish. And here he tries to poke here, but doesn't get into the 3rd. And I like how he's moved his sentries up to the small choke. Saves him a lot of force fields. I mean, camping this choke is much easier than camping this wide space here. I'm going to reinforce that with a single immortal in case a boatload of... I say a boatload a lot. In case a busload, yeah, of roaches tries to push up this ramp. A couple stalkers pushing forward. I don't know why. I mean, this observer's here. It sees everything they need to see. And, yeah. Zerg army pushes back a little bit. Taking a 4th and a 5th, but that 5th gets spotted by a hallucinated phoenix. I saw someone in the forums asking if units attack hallucinated phoenix, if they can. Well, that was the question. Do units focus fire at hallucinated phoenix? And the answer is, if you don't have detection, they will attack that hallucination like it's a normal unit. They won't prefer it over the other units, but they will attack it. And there goes a force field, getting 2 free Lings. But if you do have detection, they will never choose that hallucination over a real unit. So, yeah, that's that. No detection equals, yeah, I'm going to treat that as a real unit and I'll attack it, not with any more priority than any other unit, but I will shoot at it. But if you do have detection, they will never ever shoot at that hallucination unless you focus fire it for some weird reason. Anyway, here comes the observer. Yeah, but you like that Battle March song. I wrote it just for you guys. Here we go, a little bit of a push out, but you're noticing there's really no tech here for the Protoss player at all. Getting Blink now, but yeah, just a bunch of Immortals, bunch of Sentry, bunch of Stalkers. And then there's a lot of shit for the Zerg player. And I don't even think he realizes how much more stuff he has than the Protoss player. I mean, if I got attacked right now by this bullshit, I would die. I would die, probably. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see how well his force fields play out, but he's got to get back over here. There's still this observer here on the map, killing the zealot on the tower, and here's an engagement. Force fields go down, picking apart a couple roaches, but fungal growth does go down on the army, and using so many force fields here, not an optimal way to deal with this army. And oh my god, see, this is just not how, this is not, yeah, not a good situation for the Protoss player. Peeling apart a little squadron of infested Terran, but I mean, ultimately, the Zerg lost nothing. If we look at the unit loss tab, yikes. 8, well, that's strange. Okay. We'll just go back to a tab that I know what I'm talking about. There's a Greater Spire on the way, as well as 5 Corruptors, so we are going to see those Broodlords, and there's already a fuck ton of Infestors on the field. Well, 8, 9, 10, 11. There are 11 Infestors on the map right now. And so, Broodlord Infestors on the way. Here we go. We're going to see 2 Broodlords morphing out here. A bunch of Spine Crawlers moving forward into position. And Stalkers just moving around to kill those Overlords where they can. And yeah, really just kind of setting up his 4th base. He's going for the long haul here. He needs desperately to be able to deal with Broodlords, so he's going to need some splash damage. Look at him getting that mothership. If you watched the first game, he did a lot of stuff where he would go and attack a 3rd and set himself up to make it look like he was pincered in, and the Zerg would go for it, take some hits, but he knew he had a Protoss player cornered, and then mass recall. The Protoss would pull his crap out of there, and he'd get an expansion for free, virtually. So excellent use of motherships. Not necessarily sitting it over top of your army to get that cloak. Not necessarily bringing it in to get, oh dear. 2 Immortals here, gonna focus down a Spore Crawler, making this an easy position to move around in. That Warp Prism, man. That Warp Prism. Coming back. No, he doesn't want to come back. Why is he coming back? There are Infestors here. The Fungal Growth will go down on the Warp Prism, and no! Damn me, no! Oh, that was an expensive loss, and all he got was a Spore Crawler. Yeah, so these Broodlord things. Oh, there's not very many of them. There's only lots of them run away. Oh God, yeah, the Protoss player gonna run away and try to shoot those things so they don't do any more damage to his arm. You can't even understand what I'm saying. With these Broodlords, they're alone right now, getting 2 of them. Force field's going down to try to stop a lot of those Broodlings, but they still get through. The time expires on those, and they do go down. The Infestors are like, "What? I just love you, force fields," and they massage them with their face. There are Colossus on the field now. You know, that's cool. Gonna soak up some of those Broodlings when they hit the ground. But you need Archons, ultimately. That's what you need in this composition. Ling's going over here to be like, is there a base here? And yes, there is. And so setting himself up to get us around, I think, but not really, maybe. Corruptor's like, yo, I love Photon in my mouth. So he got a lot of it. There is a mothership here. There are Corruptors in the air, but not really enough to take down a mothership in a direct engagement. And here goes the army pushing forward, gonna get another Broodlord. Now just gonna get an Overlord. It's like, I like those. And yeah, those are free kills. More Broodlords. A Fungal Growth does go down on the army. The Zerg player does not want to engage this Protoss Death Ball. There are only 4 Broodlords left in the sky. Are there more morphing in? There's 2 more over here. That will join up with the big Broodlord ball. But right now, this is 2 maxed out armies, both of them pretty scary. The only thing that could make this Protoss ball scarier is those Archons, which we probably will see if any of this Death Ball dies. Here an engagement against some Roaches, but I mean, kind of what NEXApple wants to free up a little bit of supply. He will be looking at replacing those Roaches with some more Corruptors. Yeah, there we go. Lots and lots of Corruptors. You know, in the meantime, they act as defense for their Broodlords. But you know, when the Broodlord count starts to get low, you just crap out 7 more Broodlords. No big deal. He's got a big bank, 2 grand, almost 3 grand in minerals, and almost $1 grand in gas. No shortage of fun here. And here comes some more Corruptors just pouring out of the hatcheries. There's some Archons in the mix. This is a 200 NEXApple versus a 199 supply STAR's Ace. Some more Hallucinated Phoenix just hovering around, checking it out. Not sure what just happened there. And, yeah, gonna do the whole Warp Prism thing once more. Where's it going? Where's it going? And there's another Warp Prism up here with nothing in it. And here's the drop. Nope, that's not where the drop is. Here's the drop. Okay, 2 Immortals focus firing down the Greater Spire, and they're in a spot where they can't really get intercepted. That Warp Prism is not good. The Warp Prism doesn't get away. The Immortals won't. I'd say it's a pretty cool trade, man. That Greater Spire is not cheap, and it takes a long time to build. You're going to see him right now getting another Greater Spire, then just leave his Warp Prism here, whatever. But the Protoss Deathball coming up here. There's still a mothership for mass recall. I'm not sure where it is, but it's here. There it is. So if this army gets engaged, we're going to see the mass recall, and there it is. Back over here, this is a safe Protoss army, and NEXApple lost more supply than STA's Ace ever did there. So pretty cool there for the Protoss player. 4 carriers on the way. Carrier has arrived. I'm gonna take a drink of my cola. I really should write into Coke and be like, you need to sponsor me now. I've talked about you almost every episode. And if you don't want to sponsor me, you can just send me free cola. I'm cool with that. Observer sees everything, and he's like, please don't fungal, please don't fungal, please don't fungal, please don't fungal. And I'm surprised there's not one Overseer in this entire army. There just isn't. If like a handful of DTs wandered into that cloud of infestors, it'd be like, well, that's fine. Look at all of the infested Terran, all of the broodlings. This is just a lot of free army coming into the Zerg player. It's just everywhere, and the Protoss army is just kind of pincered into it all. Here's a lot of Corruptors. Stalkers get under those Corruptors, but actually only manage to kill one. Just, man, Corruptors have so much health. And look at all the Broodlords. Oh my gosh. That's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 Broodlords. Yeah, 13 Broodlords. And here we go, another engagement. But 2 Infestors go down, 3 Infestors go down, almost 4. 5 Infestors, 6 Infestors, 7 Infestors go down. Oh my god, there's a vortex here. I'm not sure what it was, but man, almost all the Infestors for the Zerg player went down to Colossus. Here's a carrier! And I think the Stalkers are in this vortex. Yes, it was all the Stalkers protected from the Broodlords while the Corruptors were up front and while the Infestors were dying. And yeah, excellent situation for the Protoss player. Terrible situation for the Zerg player. He's still got a lot of Corruptors in this guy, but can they deal with carriers with upgrades? And I'm talking a lot of carriers. We have 4 carriers here, supported by High Templar, Colossus, and Stalkers. This is not a friendly matchup for the Zerg player. He's still got a few Infestors, but they just have no energy. I'm gonna try to dump some infested Terran, but I'm not sure why. Some Infestors gonna die to Blink Stalkers who blink forward, and there's one Infestor that's got some energy that just died for free. Not sure what the Zerg player is doing. Here's a lot of Corruptors in the air once again. So many Corruptors, but catches 2 carriers with fungal. The other carriers have no choice but to fight back. Storm going down on those Corruptors, and they just stand in the storm. Holy balls, not good for them. Stalkers shooting at God knows what. I think they're shooting at the Broodlings. Those Corruptors, man. Focus fire those. Oh my gosh. They just one-shot those carriers. The Stalkers trying their best to kill them, but there's just too many, and they have so much health. Despite the storm that they just virtually stood in. Oh, they're just still flying around. Zerg player, these spine mazes are so good. So good. Excellent choice as a Zerg player. If you've got too many drones, you want more army, you've got such a huge bank, you don't need to mine that fast, man. Just dump your extra drones into the middle of the map as spine crawlers. Here goes a bad engagement for these Stalkers. It looks like the Zerg player could win this. This is a really good engagement. for the Zerg player, but he's sitting too many of his Corruptors on top of those Stalkers, and I think that's what the Stalkers are shooting at. And the carriers will be able to beat them by themselves, I think. We're going to see Interceptors just peeling those Corruptors apart. And so there are no more Corruptors in the sky. 3 more on the way, but 5 more carriers on the way for the Protoss player. If he can get those carriers out, he's got 1 more coming out here. The Infestor Broodlord just can't fight that, and the carriers by themselves. And he dumps a few more Infested Terran, but he needs a Fungal. There's the Fungal. Will this carrier go down? No, he gets away, but another Fungal traps the... Oh my god. Will that carrier go down? That carrier going down. He needs to move that carrier. StarTales 8 does get the carrier away. Will the shield regenerate, or will he go down to Corruptors? He will go down to Corruptors. I don't even know what's going on. That carrier does go down. The death animation on carriers is so cool. He's trying to mind control those carriers, but the carriers are focusing down the Infestors that mind control his units. These Infestors, these Broodlords, they need to leave because they can't deal with those carriers. The Infestors basically get free kills on those Infestors. And here we're gonna go. There's 2 Infestors here for free, but the carriers are not gonna kill them. They finally kills him. Does he not have those Infestors hotkeyed? I didn't even know. But this second base here for the Protoss goes down. There's a lot of his production, but he's got some more Stargates here spitting at carriers. There are 7 carriers on the field right now. As soon as this one pops, that'll be 7. 5 more on the way. Oh my god, that's switching to carriers. And it happened when the Zerg is pretty much mined out everywhere. The Zerg player cannot spit out as many Corruptors as he'd like to. And that's his only real way of dealing with these carriers. I mean, if he spits out Hydralisks now, it's kind of too late. He can't make enough of them fast enough. And these carriers, they have upgrades. They're 2-2, man. He's got 5 more on the way, as well as another mothership, which is just, oh my god. Oh my god, I don't even know how to feel right now. I am so sad for the Zerg player. He just finds himself naked right now in the middle of this unreal transition. It's like in PvT when, you know, the Terran player lines himself up to deal with Colossus. He gets his Vikings out. He's like, yeah, man. And then there's no more Colossus on the field, just High Templar. And this is that situation, man. The Protoss player, the Zerg player, got himself ready to deal with Mass Blink Stalkers. He had everything he needed. And, you know, deal with that ground army, that scary Colossus, Archon, Stalker ground army. And here's these carriers, and the Broodlords are useless, and he's got so many. And it would be so stupid for him to throw away those Broodlords right now, because then the ground army would roll him, you know? Like, the Protoss is making money right now. He's got this base going up. And the Protoss army backing off. There's a huge ball of Corruptors here, but I truly believe that this carrier ball could take that straight up, no problem. But there are a lot of Infestors which could stop the Interceptors, which is a big deal. I'm not sure if Interceptors shoot while they're locked down by fungal growth. I really don't know how that works. For the most part, the fungal growth kills the Interceptors pretty good. If you just kind of spray the carriers with that fungal growth, the Infestors, the Interceptors die pretty quick. Here we go, that big ball of Corruptors checking it out, but kind of, I don't know, that's a really ballsy base for the Zerg, but he doesn't really have much choice. All the other bases are taken, and the Protoss becoming mined out there, almost mined out there. This is his last real mining base. But it's one of those ones with less mineral patches and everything else, and only a single gas geyser. So, not really awesome. He does have this mothership. He's got all these carriers. There are 14 carriers here, I think. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 carriers. Oh my goodness. This is quite the situation for both of these players. I don't know what to tell you, but it's okay. Corruptors, they do pretty good against carriers, but not, you know, this many carriers. If he gets a good engagement against the carriers with the Infestor support, oh my god, that's so many Corruptors. I truly think that the Protoss player has waited way too long with these carriers. Way too long. And a single Zealot up here, he's like, I'm a hero! And then he dies. Yeah. Okay. Couple of infested Terran. Oh, we almost saw an engagement here. Here comes those corruptors. What's going on? Corruptors do not want to engage the carriers without the infestors. There's the carriers showing themselves off. They're with the mothership, so the corruptors are going to have to kill the mothership before they can even shoot at the carriers. Unless there's, oh my god. Oh my god, there's like 2 pages of those fuckers. Oh. Oh dear. Here we go. Why is he without his infestors? He's going to engage without the infestors. He's gonna do it. And here comes the High Templar. A vortex goes down. I don't know what he's gonna do with this. I think a couple of infestors are in that vortex. If so, they're gonna die for free when they come out. What is he gonna do? What is he gonna do? A storm, 2 storms go down. There's only 1 corruptor in there. What a waste of storm. Oh my god. He definitely thought he had more in there. And here we go. You see, the storm goes down, and a lot of those infestors melt almost right away. That is the DPS of a carrier. That's 16 DPS with an attack speed of 1. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Oh my dandy. That's incredible. So here we go again, another engagement, and he needs to choose to engage. The storm going down, missing its mark. Small engagement over here. Broodlord's kind of pushing into that. But not many Broodlords here anymore. I'm not sure where they all are. Oh, there's the Broodlord army. And here the carriers, looks like they're pushing in. Getting air armor level 3 for those carriers. Just needs them to live as long as possible to do the maximum amount of damage. And we're currently seeing the Zerg player sitting on more resources than the Protoss player. This could go in any direction. This moment is so intense. And here we go. Huge engagement against the Broodlords. A big engagement against the Corruptors, but the Corruptors are just running. He needs to either shit or get off the pot, honestly. As he dances around the carriers, he's losing Corruptors for free because those carriers have so much range. And here we go, the infested, oh my god, the fungal growth on the carriers. It decloaks them, I forgot about that. And the cloak comes back on because the fungal growth wears off. But so many infested Terran went down there. Not infested Terran, oh my god, Corruptors. So much to talk about, so much to talk about. So little time to vomit words out of my mouth. Bunch of probes coming over here to join this expansion. And are we going to see an engagement from the Corruptors? I think he thinks he can flank the carriers somehow, but I don't know if he knows how it works. Those interceptors come from everywhere. Maybe he's hoping he can catch the mothership for free or something. I don't know. But trying to circle around and get a weird engagement. Not really sure. There we go. Getting feedback down on those infestors and just melting the Corruptors. They... Oh. So gone from 2 pages of Corruptors to only 8 Corruptors left on the field. Taking a look at the unit lost tab by request. Oh. And the Zerg player is very much fallen behind here. Late game though, 1,000 or so minerals is not a big deal. But this game is not looking good. A bunch of Zerglings. It's like, I'm just going to pick my Zerglings up and throw them at the carriers. That's how this is going to go. I think maybe he's going to try to do some backdoor stuff to his opponent's bases just to stop the mining and hope he can outmine the Protoss, but that's not really going to happen, I don't think. Here, another engagement on those Corruptors, and it's just not going in the Zerg player's favor, and now those Broodlords are alone! They are all alone with the carriers! Some units caught in that vortex, but not much, I don't think. And, oh my god, a couple of infested Terran went into there, and their time expired. A carrier gets sucked in there as well. He's like, please no! And there's that, GG yo, or whatever, I think that's what it says, GG yo. GG yo! Yeah. Awesome. That was a pretty sick game. I enjoyed it. I hope you did. I missed the set of card. I'm yawning, and that was StarCraft Inc. I'll see you guys next time. Booyah, kasha.